He aligns himself with the truth, and it's time for you to choose a side. You're listening to Alex Jones.
Hello, stupid Americans. Fentanyl, Chinese Communist wagon here. I told you just a week ago, when you don't do what we say, you die. Look what happened to a Hong Kong protester. Oh, and don't forget, we killed more than Hitler ever did. And that's why the liberals love us. Oh. In America, the colleges that we fund teach no borders, no walls, no USA at all. Let me show you a trained slave. No wall, no USA at all. America is a rotting carcass covered in filthy maggots. Look at your own James Harden. He came out and apologized to us. That's good. And now we tell the NBA what to do, and the NBA say, yes, master.
Yeah, we apologize. We love China. We love, playing there.
Finally, you saw what happened to South Park. They talk about our re-education camps and our death camps and how Winnie the Pooh is banned. And let me now tell you what happens. They banned in our country. Then they put out sarcastic apology. That's not good enough. Once we take over, we're going to kill the South Park producers. That's what we do. Everyone is adopting our model. Big tech is censoring Alex Jones, and now even Republican leaders, and they do nothing. Soon, sites like Panda Video will be shut down. You stinking Americans, do not share that site or Infowars.com. Submit. Do not fight back. Do what I say. I just caught you, American. You visited Panda Video. Oh, Mark Zuckerberg and others angry at you. Do what CNN says and do not visit Panda Video, or I have to hurt your eyes.
I'm going to open the phones up throughout the full 4 hours. In fact, I had some guests scheduled. I've canceled those guests. I specifically want to open up the college of ideas here, people that agree, people that disagree. On your views, if impeachment is inevitable, like Pat Buchanan is saying it is, and I respect Pat Buchanan, well, what comes next? Well, we'll look at those different possible futures here on air. And why is it inevitable? Well, we have a bunch of cowards in Congress that are being blackmailed and are being threatened and are being controlled. And I really don't think it's inevitable. But Trump has it in his power to act. Now, his rhetoric last night was amazing. This is the second best speech he's given since the United Nations. The UN speech was very focused, was not done in a Don Corleone meets a comedian version. Very funny, very entertaining, very serious issues he was covering, though. I was here last night hosting live with Will Johnson, giving live coverage of it, and that's archived to band.video. We're going to play large sections of the speech today in the second and the third hour, and of course we'll be taking your calls throughout that. But there really is a paradox here. When it comes to actually indicting any of the deep staters, we're seeing none of that, but some people that really had no connection to Trump, that barely knew Giuliani, they've been indicted. And of course, we don't see any action on the internet censorship. We see a lot of talk, but no action on that as well. And so if Trump gets taken down, Trump has Donald Trump to blame. But then we're really in deep crap at that time. If we don't ourselves rediscover what made America great, and if we ourselves don't say no to the bullying and the control of the globalists, we're going to lose everything. Even in, quote, nationalist or conservative newsrooms, when people talk to you about stories like a man who claims he's a woman at a CNN town hall last night, getting up and saying, anyone using the wrong pronoun on me is a physical assault. Well, that's a man dressed up like a woman coming after reality and coming after the First Amendment. I could care less if the person wants to dress up like a woman and looks like a person that's escaped out of a lunatic asylum. That's their issue. That's what this big open free society's created, is a lot of decadence. But I don't hate that person because they're so cool and a big fat man can put a wig on. What I don't want is those big fat men forcing their way in to bounce little kids on their knees, pushed by the public schools and the leftist captured churches. Because if a man came in and said he wants to bounce your kid on their knee, you'd say that guy's a pervert. That guy's a diddler. That guy's probably a convicted pedophile. A lot of them turn out to be. But when they wear a costume that's even more creepy, we go, oh, it's cultural enrichment. And the big corporations force feed it all to us. So while Trump was giving his big speech last night, that's the second best I've seen him give after his UN speech. And really, the guy is quite the comedian. He's a very talented soul. While I was covering that live last night here on the feeds, on the satellite and internet feeds at Infowars.com/show and Band.video with my sidekick, my co-host, compadre, Bill Johnson. CNN was hosting its event. And so I went back and watched the archive of it last night while my children safely slept in a home in the final days of America, while their safety slips away like grains of sand through an hourglass, while the once great republic slouches and collapses like a mountain in a rock slide into the sea of insanity and degeneracy. I watched as much as I could bear, an hour and a half of it. And it was like an Olympic sport to see what free goodies they could offer, how they could smile the candidates approvingly on to the throng of mental midgets and soulless degenerates dancing to Satan's tune. Pat Buchanan has the article out from worldenddaily.com. Is impeachment now inevitable? And you look at it and you say the first whistleblower is a hoax, the second whistleblower is a hoax. It's all hearsay garbage. We have the transcript. But then why do you smell blood in the wind? I'll tell you why we smell blood in the wind. It's because you can smell the piss in the wind. And you can see the piss running down the legs of the media and the piss running down the legs of Congress because they're yellow. Because they were bought and bred and created and pushed and put into power because they have no power, because they're yes men. And so now, like a papier-mâché house built out of straw, when the big bad wolf comes along, communist China and the big cold-blooded mega corporations with their slave factories and their cloning facilities and the big evil future they already built with our ingenuity and our money that they're just getting ready to unveil for us. First, they got to demoralize us. First, they got to have convicted pedophiles have children ride horsey on their erect genitals through their pants. First, we got to be told babies are being kept alive and harvested. First, we got to have China, everybody line up and gesticulate and prostrate themselves before them like Mark Cuban. And, oh, no, China's good. Don't even bring up self-expression at a press conference where the NBA grabs the mic away from even CNN. Because this is the war on freedom of expression, the war on everything that comes from that. Your businesses, your children, your life, your religion, or the lack of, your spirituality. It's all being taken. This is the big globalist offensive. And the system has gone around and harassed and threatened and put reporters and PIs and the IRS on everybody of any prominence that supports Trump, even down to people that rent or buy condos from him. They've all gotten FBI visits. And now the system looks at this big rotting facade, and Trump's there with confidence trying to prop it up, but that's not enough. And they decide that they can huff, and they can puff, and they can blow our house down. In fact, this house of straw, the wolf doesn't even need to open the door or come down the chimney or blow it down. Because if the three little pigs were inside and they had any baby piglets, they would go out and feed the wolf those piglets and say, eat our babies just so you eat us later. In fact, the wolf even lets them pretend they're wolves. They kind of dress up in wolves' outfits and kind of pull up. He doesn't give them any of the flesh, but if he's full, he takes a dump. Seriously, he tells the pigs, you can eat that. And they do. They pretend they're wolves. And they lick the wolf's ass. And then they go, and the wolf says, hey, have some more babies for me. I want to eat those. And they say, yes, a boss. Because you see, they figured out the one way they're going to get to live is if they just keep having those babies for the wolf. But see, the wolf figured out how to make babies without a mommy and a daddy. And see, those pigs might get uppity somewhere down the line, so let's just get rid of them altogether. And that's the robots, that's the computers, that's the AI. So the pig's sitting there thinking he's a wolf, and the wolf's sitting there picking his teeth with a toothpick. And he says, you know what? I really hate your guts, pig. You sold out your own kind. When I'm done with all of them, I'm going to slowly tear you inside out. How's that sound there? Because this is all about conquering you little pigs. And you know, the truth is, if you were wild boars, wolves run from wild boars because wild boars are in packs. And if the pigs ever act like boars, it'd be over for the wolves real quick. But see, people think having yellow bellies gets them ahead. And you know what? When there's not enough men to stand up, I guess it's true, be a yellow belly. Pretend you're a wolf when you know you're not. But see, some of us are going to be not sheep, not pigs, not wolves, but sheepdogs. And we like a good fight. And in the end, we're going to win. But I just want all of you out there thinking that you're safe, kissing that wolf's stinking ass, to know you're damn fools. Got a big broadcast lined up. You'll want to stay with us. I want to really carve out some major time to take calls. So I will take calls in the second, third, and fourth hour today. I'm going to host the fourth hour today. Nick Begich was ready to host, but I told him to take off today. He usually hosts Fridays. Fourth hour does a great job because I need some time to take your phone calls and really go through everything and to try to be as calm and focused as I can be and lay out really the lay of the land here from my perspective. And I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles. And I know you can see for miles and miles as well. That's why everybody's been so upset. That's why everybody's been so concerned, because our worst analysis, our worst case scenarios about exactly what we're dealing with the entity running the left worldwide has been confirmed. We're getting real close to total world government, cashless societies, wires in your head to buy and sell, the state taking your children away, if you even decide to have them, and doing really terrible things to them and bringing them towards the darkness and handing them over to the spider. And watching your children get psychically eaten and watching other people's children be destroyed. Why, you can really feel it, can't you? And you can see it. And you can feel God's anger mounting, and at a sick level, you kind of want to see God's judgment. Remember, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And so when you watch those turned over to evil and you see how soulless they are, you ask yourself, how could they be so deceived? Well, they're given over to great delusion. They've decided to harden their hearts. They've decided to turn themselves over. And so they have become soulless slaves. It's the ultimate sin to turn down the Holy Ghost. It's the ultimate sin to know the truth and to have God touch your heart and to turn it down. Everything else, evil, flows out of that. So there are many people that have already lost their souls. They had free will. They had souls. They decided to give them over. And so you wonder why they look so terrible, why they act so terrible, why they do things that are against their own self-interest. It's because the lights are home, but nobody's home. You know the Clint Black song? Still, take a shower, brush your teeth, put your clothes on, strap a timepiece on your arm, get in the truck, drive down the road, but the lights are on, but nobody's home. But see, that's not quite right. Lights are on. Somebody else is home. And just exactly who is that? Just exactly what is that? It's a transmission. In fact, most of these people you call possessed are, it's not even an entity. I've been studying it very closely. Most of them, it's actually a transmission. That's why you can go from one block to another block in places like Seattle and San Francisco. I've seen it. And the first time I saw it, I was like, stepped back and stumbled. I went, what? I saw that in the Matrix. I didn't know that was real. Agent Smith's jumping from person to person, going after Neo and Morpheus. Jumps in a cop, jumps in a woman, jumps in a cab driver. No matter where he goes, it just jumps in another person. You know, there's a maid cleaning, jumps into them. They can just shove aside the consciousness is there because it's turned itself over, and it just jumps. I was in Seattle. You saw a lot of it on tape. We were doing live feeds down there. People were throwing coffee on me, screaming at me, yelling at me. And I'd go around one block, and somebody would talk to me like a demon, and then I'd walk around another block, and they'd go, yeah, I saw you over there. Yeah, yep, it's me. I'm going to get you. I mean, and you're like, whoa, like, what is that? It's just a transmission. And if you can figure it out, where it's coming from or how to block it, you'd save the planet. But see, we're conscious creatures, so we already know how to turn it off. You have to say, you refuse it. You reject it. You denounce it. You want it out of your life, and then you've got to ask the other transmission in. Just like everything in the world, like wireless computers and birds wirelessly communicating and following the magnetic lines of the earth, and the space winds and the bees do it. We're all interfacing as transceivers at every level. Scientifically, what we can prove, and then, of course, unscientifically just means the areas we haven't broken into yet and we don't understand. And all the spectrometers and radio telescopes and mathematics now show there is all these other dimensions around us that are more powerful, holding us artificially in place. So now you don't really have atheists anymore in Silicon Valley. They'll all say, okay, there is something bigger than us and smarter, and it's artificially holding us in place. And so now you read the white papers, it's we're going to figure out how to blow a hole through it and how we're going to escape the prison we're in. So that's now mainline science. We've got to get a planetary government, get humans in line to then use technologies to punch an interdimensional hole out of the prison. I mean, we're literally following a satanic blueprint 110%. It's all manifesting, it's all real, and here we are wondering why we've got so many problems. Well, just as a rule of thumb, whether you believe in the devil or not, the big boy of this world, the chief commander, have you gone outside at night or during the day, you looked around where we're at? I mean, we're on a floating planetoid. You just think we got here? Think the Easter Bunny set us out here? Maybe a Lucky Charms? And you got a bunch of people who didn't have parents that loved them or took care of them, and all they're looking for is a spark of energy, and they run into the devil, and they go, whoa, this is energy. The devil goes, yeah, let me in, little pigs. And you let him in, man, he eats your soul, your free will, your operating system that can dial in and plug in to infinite possibilities. And God's just saying, plug in, please let me in. So how'd the devil keep people from plugging in? Well, they created false churches, and they created false parents and all these systems to abuse people in God's name. So that people believe God's the devil and Satan's Jesus. But you look at the world and you know it's real. The Bible's real. It's all happening. And those potentials in children are the potential of the universe, and that's why the enemy seeks to destroy it. And now you see the whole world, the whole system is about hurting children, stunting them, twisting them, feeding on them. And anyone that participates in this is going to be destroyed for eternity. We'll be right back. Stay with us. If you think these 20-foot waves are big, waves coming are going to be 100 feet tall, 1,000 feet tall. And then very quickly, mass insanity is going to set in. And you're going to see mass suicides and people trampling each other by the millions and nuclear reactors melting down and exploding and huge wars starting. General insanity breaking out. You think you've seen something so far? We are living in the millisecond as the king cobra strikes and sinks its fangs into our thigh. Now the poison is going to flow into us. So the initial sting is only the beginning. But remember, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So let me now do the best job I can to focus in on the brazen, real McCoy, corporate global takeover taking place. This is not a communist Chinese takeover. Communist China is the thoroughbred slave colony and laboratory for carrying this out, and is now being used in the exploitation phase. Once a nation's been taken over by the left-hand path, by the communists, if you'd like to call them that, they then go into the exploitation phase, using up those peoples and that nation, launching attacks on all the other surrounding nations to then take them over, then exploit them, and launch the further attack. Just as a virus does, going into a cell, replicating itself, the cell burst, millions of viruses flood out, infecting millions of cells, they burst, billions of viruses flood out, hundreds of billions, thousands of billions, millions of billions, and you die. Or your body is so used to fighting all the viruses, it starts mutating in a response to try to defeat it because it doesn't want to give up. There's different ways you get cancer, from the viruses themselves or the response of your body mutating to defeat the viruses. Generally then, if you were dying of cancer when you impregnated a woman, you would transfer that mutation onto her to defeat that future mutation. See, the enemy knows all this, though, so they're jacking into all that. It's a devastating effect on our people. Everybody knows that they're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines and poison in the water. No one even denies it anymore. They just go, well, there's too many of us, I guess it's best. Because no one wants to actually roll their sleeves up and take the government back and remove the scientific dictatorship, the technocracy, as they call themselves, the technocrats, and actually save ourselves. Because it's just too easy to go around glad-handing each other and collecting more baubles. let me do this. I want to open the phones up on Pat Buchanan saying, is impeachment inevitable? And why a lot of folks are saying that Trump could be impeached and then even removed, because it doesn't matter that he hasn't done anything wrong. Not committing a crime isn't enough. Standing up to the deep state triggered their wrath. And so now if Trump doesn't go after them and it doesn't find the people that will prosecute them, then he's summoned the demon without knowing how to control it, and it's going to be eaten along with the rest of us, at least in this phase. And that's really where the criticism of Trump comes in. We're finding the clip. I saw it last night live when I covered it. We'll have it next hour. Brad Parscales, the head of the Trump campaign. Trump singled him out and pointed at him and said, and our incredible head of our campaign, he knows everything about the internet. Really, we have the video somewhere. We ought to find it. Earlier this year, Trump was having a rally in Houston. And Owen Schroyer walks up to him and says, hey, Alex Jones has been censored off the internet. And Brad Parscales says, who's Alex Jones? To the camera. Which means I don't want to say something bad. I don't want to say something good. Let me just say, who is Alex Jones? Now, I don't care about the diss of him saying, who is Alex Jones? I care about the fact that it's a chicken crap maneuver. And if Brad Parscales knows everything about the internet, then he knows how millions and millions of people have been persecuted and attacked and shut down for supporting the president. He knows how right side broadcasting that does nothing but show the president's speeches has been banned on Facebook. And now this is an absolute tyranny, just like communist China coming in and trying to exercise its will over whole classes of people. It's racketeering. It's election meddling. But Brad Parscales is so happy with his Ferrari and all the rest of it down in Florida. I know people that know him, have dinner with him, and of course have brought all this up to him. And he says, oh, Trump's about to act. Trump's about to act. That was 6 months ago, Brad. So it's kind of an insult to hear you know everything, which you do know all about it, don't you? But you're like Sergeant Schultz. When the time comes, you'll know nothing. So we'll maybe have that clip for you next hour. The point is that that's why it's bittersweet with Trump. Because he's doing a lot of good things, but he's also not doing a lot of the things that need to be done, that need to be carried out. And I'm going to speak to that some in the next hour and ask callers, do you think Trump will be impeached? We'll look at why a lot of folks think he can be. I'll look at the numbers. I think it's 50-50 right now. I've told you for weeks, I think it's very serious when Trump and others have been brushing it off. And then you got to ask yourselves, what comes after that? Well, I've got a good idea. Let's just say there's a couple roads going from this point, but they all kind of lead to the same place. Some different scenery on the way, but I think people have noticed that I kind of know how the lay of the land works into the future, just from the research we've done. And you're going to want to hear that information because I'm in a good, calm, centered place today. Now, when we come back from break, I'm going to tie the open attack on the First Amendment by Beto O'Rourke to what the Chi-Coms are doing and how this is a unified threat and just how serious it is and how we can stop it. So it'll be a very condensed, focused, news-heavy segment, next segment. Please stay with us for that. Also, I want to be clear to listeners. We had a huge sale, the biggest since Christmas, 50% off, store-wide free shipping, double Patriot points. Overall, this new sale, it's going to go for a while, but not on every item because a lot of things are about to sell out. The Everything Must Go sale is technically overall a bigger sale. Not everything's at 50% off because a lot of things are very close to selling out. A lot of things don't make any money for us to fund ourselves at 50% off. But we have things 40 to 70% off store-wide and all the supplements and so much more, and store-wide free shipping, double Patriot points. So this is as good a deal or better in many cases. The Everything Must Go Mega Super Sale. Get your high-quality toothpaste. Get your colloidal silver. Get your X2, your X3, the missing halogen. Get your Ultra 12, the best B12 out there. Get your protein bars. Get your Ultimate, all of it. Kit, why? The numbers are clear. They have a chance of bullying enough people to resign out of the House, getting enough Republicans to vote against Trump. They are making a very big, strong push right now, the strongest yet, because they know Trump's going to win in 2020. They know that he's becoming wildly popular, and the power structure is in complete panic mode. You notice on Monday, I might even pull up the clip, it's only a few minutes long, I laid out how Erdogan is threatening to invade Europe with millions. I said 2 to 4 million. He's saying 3.2 million Islamic invaders that came into Syria from all over the world that are now in Turkey. He wants to throw them back into Syria, put a security perimeter there to stop them coming in. And the Pentagon, Dumford, the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman, just gave a briefing on it, basically showing all that. And I'm getting all these calls, wow, you said that on Monday, because that's just the facts. And the media, again, just acts like Trump's doing none of this for any reason. What are we going to do, let millions of Islamists pour into Europe? Or just let Turkey have an open border with Syria? Turkey has a right to secure that border. I don't like Erdogan, but again, this is a real world we live in, and we don't own Syria. And it was Obama and the globalists that destabilized it and turned it over to the Islamic free-for-all civil war. So Trump came out against the military-industrial complex, not a strong military, not our veterans, but against the corporations that are globalists that have been using our military to build their world government and to run security for China. Yeah, Afghanistan, Africa, you name it, at our expense. That's coming to an end. So I love what Trump's doing on so many fronts, but he's not prosecuting the deep state. We keep hearing it's coming in weeks and weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Well, cross your fingers. Hope so, but we'll see. Now, let's get into the big enchilada here. China is a globalist slave colony. They used communism to take over nations that were coming out of imperial control. One form of slavery for another, far worse. Tsarist Russia to V.I. Lenin. Imperial China, destroyed by the Japanese, handed over to Mao Zedong and Chase Manhattan Citibank, which uses communism to control the population, but it's offshore, gets all the profit. That's what it is. The political terms you're told have nothing to do with it. This is just slavery. And so China was put into the authoritarian model. They didn't have speech to begin with, so they complied with it. They are the engine of evil. They are the arsenal of tyranny. And so when you see Beto saying political power goes out of the barrel of the gun, take the guns, and you see Buttigieg saying, take guns, it's about power. Only the state needs guns. The UN says that. That's what China says. They're just authoritarians. And so, yes, China's the engine of this and the laboratory, but it's the corporations that put Mao in and protected him and built all this up over 60 years, 70 years that have done this. First, it took them a good 30 years to get the Chinese in line and kill 100 million of them and take them off the land and take their kids away and turn them into what they are now. Then in the last 35, 40 years since the conditioning went well, a couple generations, now they are the cancer. But it's being directed by the big corporations, the NFL, the NBA. That's all just propaganda. So they tell the players, take a knee, hate America, America sucks, teach little boys to chop their balls off. All that's to demoralize. But then when Beto and others come out at the CNN events and they say, yeah, churches shouldn't be able, just like Europe does, just like Canada does, to read passages criticizing pedophilia, criticizing homosexuality, well, they should have their exemption stripped. Well, that's all a giant scam. Let me read to you the First Amendment. First Amendment, it's how it all starts. Bill of Rights. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government of a redress of grievances. It's a lot bigger than just your personal speech. But the left, oh, they've got their speech to get government funding to piss on a crucifix or to put elephant dung all over the Virgin Mary in a state-run system. They take your religious symbol, use money to then invert it, and then literally piss on it and crap on it. That's a satanic ritual. That's a desecration. That's 101 Satanism. And to have you pay for it's even better. Have you pay with tax money for abortions in places like Austin, Texas, and San Francisco, California. So when Beto gets up there, looking like it from the Addams Family, all crazy going, "Arr." He's speaking from this globalist system. He's just a mouth. He's a tentacle. You can laugh at him all day, but he means business when he says we're going to take your guns and we're going to take your speech and we're going to go in and take control of the churches. The churches got tricked in the 50s into being 501c3. Oh, you're still tax exempt. Just sign these forms. You're no longer a church. You're now a charity. Now they come in with regulations. Well, Trump removes those regulations. One of the best things he did, saying those are unconstitutional. But you already had the First Amendment saying it to begin with. But the churches are already trained. That's why the churches are dead. They're no longer churches. They're just feel-good clubs. They're lukewarm. God spits them out of his mouth. It's not real. We're not telling you about human-animal clones or the mark of the beast is already here or the Chinese credit score. They won't even, most churches even criticize China because they might get in trouble. It's all about bowing. And when you bow and no one stands up for anything, it's like that house of straw. The wind of China comes through, the wind of globalism, the wind of Satan, the wind of the East. That's what the Chicoms call their missiles. What's Revelation say? Satan comes out of the East like a strong wind. Missiles of the East, strong wind of the East. Our missiles, our technology in the hands of them now. The great wind of the East coming at the West. Revelation, bringing fire, billions dying, the wind of the East. Read it for yourself. And so Beto O'Rourke gets up there and he tells you, oh, we need to strip them. You don't have jurisdiction, son. If you can trick people, you have jurisdiction. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibit the free exercise thereof. You don't have jurisdiction. It's how Hopi Indians can take peyote. Because the Supreme Court said Congress shall make no law, and that's really their religion. Well, then I can tell my children that they shouldn't go to a public school where they have books in the library teaching 6-year-olds that if a man wants you to get in a van with him, do it and let him have sex with you. Why do they want in bathrooms, folks? They want to get rid of norms and any privacy. They want to rape you. This whole system is about raping your privacy, raping your humanity, raping your children, raping norms. Because if you think this is all bad, they got a lot more coming. Here's Beto.
This is from your LGBTQ plan, and here's what you write. This is a quote. Freedom of religion is a fundamental right, but it should not be used to discriminate. Do you think religious institutions like colleges, churches, charities, should they lose their tax-exempt status if they oppose same-sex marriage?
Yes.
The government doesn't give you that status. It has a jurisdiction.
There can be no reward, no benefit, no tax break for anyone or any institution, any organization in America that denies the full human rights and the full civil rights of every single one of us. And so as president, we're going to make that a priority, and we are going to stop those who are infringing upon the human rights of our fellow Americans.
So what he's saying is you can't have a private club. You can't go start your religion that worships rocks or plants or God or... Oh, but the left, they can all have their little private groups. It's just you can't have your private group because we're watching you. We're going to go to break and come back with China. And all the incredible censorship and how this that you just saw and heard ties into it and how that's being projected here. Because they've taken over China. Now the globalists are using it to flex its power economically over our debt, our companies, all of it, to teach us to bow even further. And boy, is America bowing. Because the very corporations bowing help set up China. So they're just training you to bow right now. We're going to come back with all that. Again, please don't forget the way we reach new people is you telling folks about the local AM and FM stations you're listening to. That's beyond critical. And the local TV stations you're watching. And telling people about band.video, where all my live shows are, all the other great shows we have here are, all the other great contributors and reporters. We're adding so many more to band.videos. And that URL isn't as banned on Twitter and Facebook. It isn't blacklisted at all yet. It will be soon. So you don't get punished right now, but the thought police is bad. Share band.video today. Share articles. Share it all. So many great reports up there. It really is amazing. First-rate site. We're very proud of it. We're going to redesign InfoWars soon as well. But just share Band.video, whatever you do. And don't forget, we have the new Everything Must Go mega sale. Really, it's bigger than the last sale, if that's possible, because gut level, I want to sell everything we've got in inventory before new stuff comes in, so we know we have capital to go at least 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Times are so serious. We'll be right back. Thank you. I want to give first-time callers a chance up front. First-time callers, please. 877-789-ALEX. We'll open the phones up for everybody about halfway into the next hour, because I'm going to be here all 4 hours today, so we've got a good 3 hours of calls coming up right now. But I want to get into Biden. Biden should be panicking, but the deep state's coming in to his aid. Here it is.
Biden is projecting his own panic on the president as he stumbles down the campaign trail.
One thing about this president is absolutely clear, and I don't think anyone can contradict this. He is seeing no limits to his power, regardless of what the Constitution says. He believes the entire United States government can be corrupted into furthering his personal political needs. He's even willing to hold Congress and congressionally appropriated aid to a foreign nation hostage to his personal political demands. I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Joe Biden has reason to panic. A retired CIA officer told the Washington Examiner, "From everything we know about the whistleblower and his work in the executive branch, then there is absolutely no doubt he would have been working with Biden when he was vice president. As an experienced CIA official on the NSC with the deep knowledge of Ukraine that he demonstrated in his complaint, it is probable that the whistleblower briefed Biden and likely that he accompanied him on Air Force Two during at least one of 6 visits the 2020 candidate made to the country."
The lawyers said he never worked in a campaign. He's a Democrat. He worked in the executive branch. Well, with the candidate in the executive branch, Biden was the only one in the executive branch. The rest of them were senators or what have you. So it clearly was Biden's guy.
Absolutely. This one was an easy one.
This was an easy one.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's parliamentarian Andriy Durkak, who is heading a criminal case on interference in the 2016 U.S. elections, revealed on Wednesday that former Vice President Joe Biden was funneled $900,000 for lobbying activities by Burisma Group, where his son Hunter Biden has sat on the board of directors since 2014.
After President Obama put Joe in charge of Ukraine policy, they put Joe Biden in charge of Ukraine policy. Listen to this, and the press will not write it. They say, in totally unsubstantiated charges, every time they talk about him, President Trump has said that his son walked away with a fortune. Now, you know that's a totally unsubstantiated charge. Really? It's not unsubstantiated, it's fact. Joe's son, Hunter, got thrown out of the Navy, and then he became a genius on Wall Street in about 2 days. By the way, whatever happened to Hunter? Where the hell is he? Where's Hunter?
To add more black powder to the smoking gun, Durkak provided charts and images showing the connection between Burisma and the U.S.-based company Rosemont Seneca Partners, which was co-founded by Hunter Biden. Durkak added, using political and economic levelers of influencing Ukrainian authorities and manipulating the issue of providing financial aid to Ukraine, Joe Biden actively assisted closing criminal cases into the activity of former Ukrainian ecology minister Mykola Zlojevsky, who is the founder and owner of Burisma Group. How long Joe Biden can maintain the delusions he has marinated in his own hubris is anyone's guess. John Bound reporting.
Again, the toll-free number to join us on this Friday edition, 877-789-ALEX. 877-789-2539. On impeachment, is it inevitable? And what comes next? Stay with us. If you spoke outside of the royal tribal leaders' clash, or you spoke out against the local priesthood, whether they be pagans or the Catholic Church, you would get arrested, you'd get tortured, you'd be lucky if you were sent to a copper mine, or a salt mine. More often than not, you get thrown in a dungeon and tortured to death. But not before you ratted out your friends and family, generally anybody that had any property, so they could be taken and raped and killed as well. But you see, that stifled innovation. It caused the Dark Ages across the world. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived 530-something years ago, Cortez, to Mexico City, he only had a couple hundred men. I forget the exact number. Pull up number of men Cortez had when he entered Mexico City. Number of men Cortez conquered the Aztec Empire with. 200 and change. Then he just marched off into the Southwest because there was nothing to conquer. They thought they'd found what you would see as a Hellraiser movie or Event Horizon. People chopping their genitals off, taking big pieces of long rope through their tongues with obsidian glass on it. Children having their guts eaten in front of them by high priest, all completely hallucinating and worshiping what they believe were off-world entities. Oh, they took the DMT.
Don't forget.
So I'm asking the question here, ladies and gentlemen, how many soldiers did he have? 1,200. Yeah, but it's how many he entered Mexico City with. How many he entered Mexico City with. It doesn't matter. I know I'm right. The point is he conquered them. Now, if you pull back from all of that, what made us land of the free, home of the brave? In every other culture, in every other system, people kept their mouth shut. And people were slaves. Something happened 500 years ago in Europe. Something happened 200 plus years ago in the U.S. where we said, hey, we don't like having slaves. And we don't like everybody having to work in their own caste and people being frozen for life. And we don't like not having innovation. It didn't mean that we weren't following those same bad things, but we were the ones that said, let's fix it. So see, modern corrupt corporate evil that wants to go back to serfdom, back to slavery, because they're in charge already. They think they've won total control. They're only threatened by the idea of freedom coming back and the American system that other empires were threatened by. And so they're at war with that. And they're working with China and everybody else to remove that. And if they remove that, all of the baubles and all of the largesse disappears. But worse than that, the corrupt system has a hunger for deviancy and will take over and will set up a system that institutionalizes the horrors that every culture enters when they become decadent. I'd really like to bypass this part of the cycle as much as possible. We're already deep into it, but it's going to get insane. So Beto O'Rourke, I played it last hour, says, let's take away the tax exemption of any church that doesn't accept bestiality, pedophilia, all of it. Well, you can't do that. It's the First Amendment. The government has no jurisdiction. But the churches are run by the Ecumenical World Council of Churches that teaches them they have no rights. And so until we take our churches back, it's over. But I wanted to point out that everything you see coming out of China was planted there by the very same globalist. The robber barons put Lenin in charge of Russia. The globalist robber barons put Mao in. It's a slave colony. And I know I keep saying that because that's what's happening. So that's why all the corporations are bowing. That's why they're kneeling, because they want to train all of you. And they want you to see all the NBA players, the same ones kneeling during the national anthem and saying how bad America is, and the LeBron Jameses of the world going along with what the communists are doing. Because that's the plan. Let's start with Christina McFarlane. You never hear about her because she obviously isn't on the inside group. She's a low-level CNN reporter. She is handed the NBA mic. She asked, what are your views on freedom of expression? Even the discussion of the freedom of expression. Oh, they grabbed the mic away, and both NBA players sit there and look at her like, how dare you? Hey, lady, we just make hundreds of millions of dollars as star players and then complain about how whites are all racist and how much America sucks because the corporations tell us to. Because the Chi-Coms are funding us along with the corporations. And we're not going to talk about the Chi-Coms with 2 million people in forced labor camps or millions of Buddhists being killed or Christians. No. We just sit up here and let all the white people kiss our ass because they've all been taught to hate themselves. We're not actually here to help anybody. We don't care about Hong Kong being overtaken and enslaved. We don't care about secret arrests and all that. No. We're just here for lip service. Little lady, you didn't get the memo? So here's the CNN reporter.
Hi, Christina McFarlane, CNN. The NBA has always been a league that prides itself on its player and its coaches being able to speak out openly about political and societal affairs. I just wonder, after the events of this week and the fallout we've seen, whether you would both feel differently about speaking out in that way in future.
Excuse me, we'll take the basketball questions only.
It's a legitimate question. This is an event that's happened this week during the NBA. This particular question has not been answered. James.
Any other questions?
And then they go on to cross their arms and go to the next question. They don't respond because they're good slaves, well-paid slaves, Judas goats teaching you how to be a slave. Judas goat is the goat that doesn't get killed every year when the other sheep get slaughtered. He marches them in. He's their leader, and he goes out the other side. They all get slaughtered. He doesn't. Oh, but they're black, so they must be better than everybody else. And oh, we're sorry. America's so bad. Oh. Imagine how sick that is. But the big news here is ESPN ran graphics and news reports showing communist China maps, which is a big deal to them, showing the whole South China Sea, part of the Philippines and Japan belonging to China, not just Hong Kong and Taiwan. Let's roll that video. So that's...
NBA, Matt. LeBron and the Lakers arrived in Shanghai, China this morning after a 13-hour flight, dropping themselves squarely into the fallout from a recent tweet by Rockets GM Daryl Morey that showed support for anti-government protesters in Hong Kong. Rachel Nichols now is in Shanghai and has the latest on the NBA's current dispute with China.
Now, they know that Americans are politically ignorant on average and have no idea geopolitically what's going on. But China's ready to go to war with Japan, the Philippines, everybody else, and is already at war with Vietnam. See some of those southern islands? That's Vietnam. That's part of Vietnam. Huge islands, huge oil fields. They're actually in huge wars, thousands of dead every month, trying to take part of Vietnam. China's been trying to take Vietnam for 1,000 years. They've had at least, it's dozens of huge invasions. That's why we couldn't beat the Vietnamese. Their whole culture is about fighting back because the Chinese keep invading. Let's put that back on screen. Look at that. All those islands, from Japan to the Koreas, way down, thousands of miles. It's all ours. It'd be like showing Germany in 1943 and showing the whole world. Germany said the whole world was theirs. It's the same thing, or showing all of Europe. That's the getting on their knees. That's the groveling. That's the bowing. That's all of it. And people at sports stadiums everywhere that show signs saying free Hong Kong, they're being thrown out because the NBA is evil. So the threats are going on big time behind the scenes. And if Trump doesn't start executing his power, he will be taken down. And the situation is dire. Oh, his speech at the UN was gorgeous. Best speech he's given. Historic. Everybody agrees. Had William Benning on. He's dumbfounded how good it was. Lord Monckton. It's the best political speech given probably in 100 years about the state of the world and who the enemy is. It's an indictment of globalism, crony capitalism, the Chi-Coms, the attack on the family, the immorality, abortion. And it's because I care about the president so much, and I care about my own fate and my children's fate even more, that I'm very upset with the president. I don't want to hear from any of the administration that it's 2 weeks till people are indicted anymore. I want to see indictments. And I want to see deep staters frog marched out right now. Because we have globalists that have been openly working with foreign governments and foreign powers and committing crimes that are unbelievable. And instead of Trump always responding to the latest made-up hoax of Russiagate or Russiagate 2.0 Ukraine, he just says, that's pure crap, that's bull, boom, here's a transcript, and then move on to the offense, which he did last night, which was an amazing speech. I got a bunch of clips we're going to be playing over the next 3 hours we have left in transmission. 2 hours, 3 hours, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it is. We have 2 hours and 30-something minutes left. And I'll be taking your calls and going over all of it today, but this country's in dire straits. And I like Trump's Confidence Act, and I get he's got to be confident to do what he's doing. I get he thrives in this atmosphere. But they got their knives out for him, and they got them out for me. And I signed on to this because we helped relaunch the wave Trump rode in on. So Trump belongs to us, but we're also bound to him. And so it's just like you got a family member drinking a bottle of vodka every day and you know their liver's going to fail. You love them, but you're also pissed at them. And so a lot of my listeners are mad at Trump. A lot of my listeners love Trump more than ever. Well, they say love and hate are close together. Indifference is really the opposite of love. And I think there's some truth to that. But there is something sycophantic when you get around the people in Washington that are in the Trump club that think he's invincible and that are talking about dynasties like Parscales is doing. I'm going to talk about him at the end of the hour. And it's just disgusting. When we're in the trenches and we're bloodied and we know damn well how serious all this is, we've got constant incoming coming in, and you got all these dandies that surround Trump and who think they've established their own new little imperium. It's great to see the good work that's going on, but just to see Trump not taking action against the censorship and the oppression and the racketeering and the election meddling when he's got thousands of tools to do it. My God, big tech is literally in bed with the Chi-Coms. The espionage is insane. Apple and Google are beyond Huawei and national security threats. They were given the green light by Obama and the deep state. And I get they're going to come after Trump if he goes after that. But they're already coming after you. There's no deal you can make with them, Mr. President. And so like twilight setting in, dusk, the long night coming, I don't want to sit around the fire here scratching our rear ends and telling old stories and talking about how good we are and how big we are and how strong we are and how nobody else can do this job. That's for us to say, Mr. President, that you do have stamina, you do thrive in this. It's not for you to say that. And all we're saying is, we're down here on the ground, and we know what's going on, and we know the big assault's happening right now, and we want to see action. Colonel Jackson said, fire when you see the whites of their eyes. And I don't mean literal firing guns. That's the last thing we'd want to turn them into martyrs. But I mean metaphysically, culturally, politically. We can see the whites of their eyes real good. They're on top of us, raping us. We can smell their breath. They're looking into our eyes. They're squatting on top of us, peeing on us. So we need you to take the gloves off. And talk isn't enough. Toll-free number to join us. I hope you will join us here on air. We've got a whole bunch of phone lines right there filled, but when you hear somebody hang up, it's your chance to get involved. 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. Now, I haven't played any clips of the speech last night, and I'm going to start doing that when we come back, and then I'm going right to your calls. But Pat Robertson is out there saying that Trump has perhaps lost the mandate of heaven. That is literally a Chi-Com statement. It's unbelievable. We have Pat Buchanan, who I do respect, coming out and saying he doesn't support it, but the planets are aligning for it, and you could smell it. And I just want to get your take on that, because we should not be overconfident, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to tell you. All right, your calls are coming up. Matt, Chad, Bob, John, Jake, Justin, Kevin, and many others. And by the way, if you think Trump should be impeached, you're welcome to call in. We're not a cult like the left where they screen out all the calls they disagree with. This is a real organization here where we have real discussions. People that call and disagree always then say, I'm the government, or I'm corrupt, or I'm Bill Hicks or something. And so I will yell at you for stuff like that, because it's just not true. But if you have substantive stuff to talk about, we would love to hear from you. But see, the left is a satanic system. So it never wants us to exist. So they don't ever want to commune with us and actually have a real discussion, because they don't believe in themselves and their own humanity. And so they can never join with us, because we represent the life force and communion with God. And we represent the infinity of consciousness that is already with us. We simply must choose it. Choose now. Reach out. Reach out. We're going to go to Matt, Chad, Bob, and many others here in just a moment. Is impeachment inevitable? What should Trump do? What should we do to stop it? And if they do get the impeachment, will they remove him in the Senate? We'll look at all those angles in a moment. But earlier, I got into Beto saying, let's take the speech of churches away. Well, Congress doesn't have that authority in the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And then it goes on to the press and freedom of speech and right to assemble and petition the government, redress of grievances. But you notice the big corporations, Mark Cuban, all of them, bending over. Oh, don't even talk about China. Don't even talk about free expression now. CNN reporter told, don't you even mention free expression. That's a bad word. That's hateful. Because, see, even the memories that it existed before must be gotten rid of. That's why saying OK symbol is a hate symbol, when obviously it's not. But you shouldn't even ban hate symbols, because people need to be able to use them to show what they are. But it started in France 20 years ago. They were telling eBay, don't sell Nazi war paraphernalia. Well, I mean, I remember being at a gun show once and buying a German medal, a British medal, and American medal, which were vintage. I thought they were very interesting. I was a teenager, never been to a gun show. I bought a blow dart gun. I was with my dad. I bought some more magazines for my rifle, for my Mini 14 he'd gotten me a few years before. And I remember buying a Nazi party medal. Not because I was in the Nazi party. I thought it was very interesting. I thought an RAF medal, a little crown on it, was really cool too. Didn't mean I served the British crown. That's like saying don't have Mein Kampf on your bookshelf, because it means you support Hitler because you read his book. But see, that's why those things can't be outlawed. But now it's here. Now online shops, whatever, they won't. Amazon's trying to stop people selling war paraphernalia, I was reading. And then the OK sign, because the ADL's God, they said you can't show that, so Facebook digitally erases it and then bans your account in many cases. Because they want you to know we control reality. We're your master. Now, it doesn't matter if this is used in scuba diving or by SWAT teams or by the military or in international sign language. That means everything's okay. Underwater. Want to stay down? Yeah, we're okay. You know, check your time. How much time we got left down here? Into your watch. That's all. But now they say pointing your finger. If it's taken as a gun, you get arrested. That's happening. That happened yesterday. This is what the corporations want. This is the globalist takeover. This is their big push. And that's why it's important that Trump exercises speech and brazenly get in their face. And they hate that. But it's more important that we all exercise it as well and expose it and stop complying, because I love our crew here, and I don't tell them what to do. They're great folks. But when we're lining up clips of men dressed as women at a CNN event last night saying if anybody criticizes us, it's violence, we want people's speech banned. And even the crew's like, yes, this lady at the event, it's not a lady, it's a man. It's like saying men can have babies, and it's a woman saying she's a man. That's not true. But if they can teach you 2 + 2 = 10, then it's the case. And see, folks think that just complying or being nice is dignified, or it's a form of kindness, or it's a form of politeness, or it's a form of hospitality. And no, it's not. These people are carrying out a cult of making you talk the way they want. First, it's the N-word. You think, well, I think that's reasonable. But notice all the rappers, everybody else can use it. It's just you can't. And then it's, oh, we're just going to ban the tax exemption of the KKK. You're like, oh, okay. And then now it's your church down the street that's anti-war. Or now it's the church down the street that doesn't want to kill babies after they're born. So they think you're ready to capitulate. They think you're ready to roll over. The question is, are you? Because you roll over to all of this, what's coming next is even worse. And it is forced inoculations, forced sex training to sexualize your young children. It's already happening. Your children aren't just going to go sit on the laps at school with obese men dressed up like women. It'd be too obvious if it was men right away. Hey, men are coming to read to your kids, convicted pedophiles. No, a lot of states are saying, oh, we want to protect the LGBTP. We're not going to check their background. Bring in the women to show, because it's Stockholm Syndrome. Oh, the state says I better do it. They bring their children to sit and now lay on them and ride horses on them. And I can show you video of men with glitter on their genitals with little boys holding their hands at public events. And every level they get away with more. If a man came to your children in the park and said, I want him to sit on my lap, you'd say, get the hell out of here. But see, these leftist women bring their children, the children look up at them like, is it all right? They're always so scared, but finally they're made to do it. Now they're ready for the sexual conversion. And all these tranny commandos tell you, they say, and their name is right, they're transitioning your kids. We're here to groom your children. In video after video with arrogance and hatred and a big smile. They go, because the evil flows through them. Only when they carry out the evil, they suddenly feel alive. Touch them, ride them, sit on them, get close to the spider. Come to me, my pretty. These things must be done delicately. I'll get you and your little dog, too. We're going to your phone calls when we come back. Matt and Chad and Bob and John and Jake and Misty and Justin and Kevin and Forrest. And I'm going to be a good boy. And I'm going to go to all your calls. I've done a lot of talking in my life. And see, I'm not trying to talk like some guy in Old Western. My voice is going out. But that's what happens to a voice that's been used like it's supposed to in the fight. It's got that old authoritative sound, which somewhere back in our instincts we say is the old grayback. Where are the old graybacks out there? They've all been told to go away. They've all sold out, or they never discovered even who they were. They think having the best golf membership is a symbol of the power, when it's the exercise of their will against evil that is the measure of power on this planet. They got all the sports cars and all the trophy wives, but they don't even have the minds of their children's countenance on their side. They have forfeited thousands of generations of will and strength, all of it being lost in the blinking of an eye. Wealth untold pouring down a fetid sewer line. Untold strength passing away from us, being lost like sand through our fingers, and replacing it, the poison of Satan. I need you to tell people about the broadcast, and I need you to buy the products. I need you to fund us. You know, I haven't really talked about this, but we should do a special report on it, showing the dozens of reporters we've got out around the country and the world, and all the mega massive effects we're having, thanks to you, and what we're doing here. But I don't have time to do that because I would miss out on covering the next report or the next thing done. But bottom line, this operation is very important, and it only gets the word out because of you. And we have the new Everything Must Go sale. 30, it's really 30, it says 40, some stuff's 30%. 40 to 70% off store-wide. Free shipping, double Patriot points. It's really even bigger than the last sale. It's just some of the items we can't sell at 50% off because we lose money on those. But everything we can do it at that level is that level or even bigger. We need the funds. These are products you need, so take action. The clips of Trump's extremely noteworthy and powerful presentation last night that he did in a comedic style. Very charming. But what I'd really like to see is a bunch of indictments and action on big tech. Because if you don't take action on that, and if you don't take action for the journalist, Julian Assange, that you asked to release the info, and he did, then we can't trust you when we're hung out to dry, can we, Trump? Just because Trump's way better than Hillary doesn't mean we're going to go along with this. By the way, I asked them for a compilation, our great video researcher, Wilson. He first had a 4-minute one of Trump supporters being attacked viciously last night in Minnesota. Now he has an 8-minute one. And I was watching some of these during the breaks, a bunch of stuff I hadn't seen. You never see this stuff on the nightly news. Little clips are here and there, but they were vicious, waving communist flags, attacking men, women, and children. And there's all these racial attacks in Minneapolis, St. Paul against whites, which is very sad. And the media is covering that up. So we're going to get into it. And what it is Somali tribesmen attacking white people. The Somalis are very tribal. They're hated by the African countries around them. I'm not trying to bash Somalis. It's just they have slavery still legal there, and they sell women into slavery, and it's just crazy, folks. And it's absolutely out of control. So we're going to be showing all this coming up towards the end of the next hour, but I want to go to your phone calls right now and get into so much of this here today. And I have my message to Brad Parscale as well off some of the clips I saw last night. So that's all coming up. But will Trump be impeached? There's a big article from WorldNet Daily. It's up on DrudgeReport.com. Is impeachment inevitable? I read it, and I agree with what Pat Buchanan's saying. He's a smart guy. He likes Trump. He loves Trump. But if we don't talk about how serious this is, the Democrats really mean it this time. They're making their move, and they're threatening all these Republicans. If we don't all go on the offense politically now and get very aggressive, we're going to lose it. And that means listeners and citizens, you got to go to D.C. You got to go to their offices. They work for you. Their offices are open. You got to get in their face. You got to sit there all day till they come. You got to videotape it and put it out. And you got to meet them in the halls. And you got to go when they're in their district. And you got to call them to talk radio. And you got to go speak at your church. And you got to get serious, folks. You got to get aggressive politically in legal and lawful ways. All right, let's go to your calls. I appreciate everybody calling in. And I'm sure you're all going to be great callers, but just give me your take on, do you think he's going to get impeached? What comes next after that? There's a lot of angles that are in this. And I really want to pick your brain and have a big discussion about it. So Matt in Canada, what is your take on all this, sir? Thanks for calling.
Hi, Alex. 10-year listener. Use a lot of your products. Great work on Band Dog Video, and keep doing Fentanyl, the Chi-Com Dragon. That's awesome.
Thank you, sir. I'm trying.
Well, listen, I think here's my angle, and then I want to share with you what I think happens next. Being up in Canada, we have a federal election coming later this month, and it's really incredible. We have a classical liberal that's come onto the stage, and you see the same pattern happening, where it's a populist movement. It's a return to, just the classical liberal roots of a Western democracy. And he's being labeled neo-Nazi and all the rest. And the media, they know with Trudeau that it's like, this is a libtard. He's not going to win. Instead of doing their usual flip-flop between left-right, they're not going back to conservative, which is really a centrist party. They're actually doubling down and going harder left with an even more left party than the Liberal Party. And I think, this ties in. I think the impeachment with Trump, I think it's like they're really moving on it. I think you can see the fight with Brexit. They're trying to hold that back, but I think they can see it globally. Remember, this isn't the Democrats. This is the globalists, right? They see it in a lot of these other countries, even in Canada, where it's like people have just had enough. They've just had enough. And we just want to restore, politically, we want to restore the basic classical liberal Western civilization, own your guns, have some private property. And I think, David Rockefeller said, you know us, China is the model of the New World Order. So I think they know their policies have failed. And if you look at what Mao did when his Great Leap Forward policies failed, what happened right after that? It was the Cultural Revolution. And I think that's what they're gearing up for. That, you know, that's Antifa.
You're absolutely right. In fact, the universities and all of them say the Cultural Revolution is the model. We've been in the Great Leap Forward, being centralized, being domesticated, a quote, service economy. And now the Great Leap Forward is going to be a physical attack. That's why all these leftist leaders are saying, we're going to overthrow governments. We're going to start killing people to save the earth and to stop the Nazis. And it doesn't matter that thinking people know that's not true. They've got enough dumbed down, disenfranchised people who are being promised a seat at the table if they engage in this, that they're actually trying to organize themselves into a violent action. You're absolutely right. The globalists didn't see Trump coming. They didn't see Brexit, all these nationalists getting elected. They mobilized against it. They admit they've been losing, but they were afraid to remove Trump. They wanted to try to defeat him in 2020. Now that they know that's not working and the censorship didn't work, they made the decision in the last month to go ahead, because Trump really is trying to get prosecutions going, to remove Trump. And so that's why you're right. It's not the doddering meth head left, Nancy Pelosi and Chucky Schumer. The real deep state's moving on Trump, and it's moving on the senators. And that's why everybody's like, oh, this isn't a danger. No, no, it's real. And they really intend to do it. And Trump better get it through his head. Russiagate was, they thought they'd find something. I mean, my gosh, all these foreign governments are involved somewhere. But Trump was so clean, really because he was so amateur, which is a good thing, totally different perspective on politics, that they didn't find anything. But now they don't care. They're making their move. And it doesn't mean they have to win, but just like I told people Trump was going to win 2 years before he did, I'm telling folks, this is blood in the water. This is real. What else do you think should happen, Matt?
Well, I think, you know, if you're in Canada, I just want to plug People's Party of Canada. You need to get politically active, and you know we need to start getting active.
Yeah, tell folks about that. I mean, tell people about the lay of the land up there. I see these leftist articles attacking us, going, Jones must be shut down, Paul Watson must be shut down. These big national publications, even major papers, because they're able to speak to Canadians, and Canadians are seeing Alex Jones and Paul Watson, and it sounds so authoritarian, like it's a cartoon, but they're serious.
I grew up in Alberta, and I can tell you, there's a lot of Alex Joneses in Canada. A lot of like just, you know, real people. And, you know, we have a state-run media here, and it's incredibly left-leaning. And, you know, when you look at the debate stage that happened in our federal election debates, you have 6 different parties up there. 4 of them are radical left. 1 is centrist, which is conservative. And then you've got Maxime Bernier, People's Party of Canada. And it's a UKIP. It's, you know, it's a populist, classical libertarian, somewhat libertarian party. You know, they're just common sense, and you look down all their policies, whether it's gun ownership, economics, immigration, it's just all common sense.
Just common sense populists. God bless you, Matt. Great caller. We're going to take one more before we go to break, but that's what's happening. The globalists are losing everywhere. It's dangerous for them to go pure authoritarian right away. They planned to get us there, but we were 80% of the way there, but that took them decades. Now they're trying to accelerate that last bit, and that last bit's the really nasty bit. So that's why this all seems like the Twilight Zone in 1984, because it is. We're hyper-warping towards tyranny. If there's a black hole, we're a spaceship, we're flying towards it real fast. We need to turn around. And the awakening you see is great, but that's people waking up on the bridge of the ship. We've got to remove the gremlins from the wheel and turn it now. Just talking about it from the, you know, Trump rallies doesn't do it. Chad in Louisiana, you're on the air. What do you think about the move to impeach Trump, and how serious do you think it is?
Okay, I'm at work, so I got to make this quick. The only thing we could do is pray to get rid of those gremlins, as you just said. And the reason the Democrats are going for the guns is because they want the Cold Civil War to become very kinetic. God bless that.
Well, you're right. They've decided they're losing the culture war. And so they want to move the aubergine window to convicted pedophiles having children ride on their erections through their pants at public schools and at government facilities. And so, I mean, if convicted pedophiles, children literally simulating sex with them, I mean, imagine where they're taking us next. I mean, they are just bum rushing us. I appreciate your call, sir. All right, that was 2 great calls. We're going to go to John and Jake and Misty and Justin and Kevin and Forrest when we come back. In fact, we're going to go to Misty first. Please don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, we are only here on air because of you, and we've got great products. We have the Everything Must Go Mega Super Sale. It's really 30. A few items are 30% because we don't make money at that price, like with the skin cream, okay? I mean, that's ridiculous. Make like $1 at 40% off or something. These are great products. Get a bunch of them, InfoWarsStore.com. We have a bunch of combos I haven't even told you to talk about that are the best deals we've ever done at InfoWarsStore.com. We're being told that we can't even talk at press conferences about what is your view on free expression. Because free expression is valued. Free expression trumps the tyranny, so you can't mention it. It's really freedom they're getting rid of. It's not the Nazis. In fact, it was the Nazis got rid of the speech. We're going to your phone calls. Is Trump going to be impeached? You know, I could walk through how they're threatening the senators. I could walk through all the intimidation. I could walk through how Trump is not doing anything to stop the massive censorship that's now even happening to him on a mass scale. So people want to support Trump, but not seeing him do that is very frustrating. And I think we really can't just sit here and hope Trump's going to do anything. Maybe it's going to come. We've seen a little bit of action. We've seen some really good rhetoric. But rhetoric hasn't stopped Silicon Valley and their Chi-Com operatives from pressing the attack. It's actually made them dig their heels in. It's made them put on more steam. It's had them really buck up. So I'd like to meet the enemy. I'd like to start politically pulling their teeth out with pliers. I don't mind the pain myself. I just like to get my legs back in. And what I don't want to hear is Brad Parscales talking about dynasties. Talk about dynasties after we defeated the globalists, and you can have your dynasty. But you're either going to get dynasty or destruction. Bill Mudd's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather out of Virginia reportedly helped kill Lincoln. So the name became known as Mudd. That's where that comes from. Your name will be Mudd. It was a pun in the newspapers at the time. And the progeny of Mudd, Dr. Mudd, says they're going to kill the president and kill his supporters. Well, when you start getting talk like that from people like him, kind of changes the rules of engagement a little bit, doesn't it? And that doesn't mean we're going to go out and do anything violent. It just means we know who we're dealing with now. So we're starting to think about how we guard ourselves for true. Guard yourself for real. Kind of opens up those parts of the brain that everybody tries to keep back in the warehouse under curtains, under sheets, locked up in those crates. There's a lot of people aren't scared of violence or war. They like it. And little boys like Muddy, who never actually did anything like that, is a fool. But who's a greater fool? Those that don't know history, or those that do know history, and then let it repeat. Those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Yeah, that's true. But those that know history and let it repeat are damned to hell. There's a special place in the dimension inhabited by those that rejected God's perfect plan and took their free will and squandered it. And there's a special place there for those that were cowards. God hates cowards. I think that's the truest thing ever said. God hates cowards. And if you'll sit there and let these people have their way with your culture and your very genetics, then you've made the decision to be cut off from God and to be damned to eternity with these entities. Your calls are 60 seconds away. Stay with us. Well, Pat Buchanan, he's a smart man. I've had a chance to interview him many times, got to meet him a few times, worked for his campaign back in the early 90s. And he's written an article at worldnetdaily.com. It's up at drudgereport.com as well. Is impeachment inevitable? And he goes over the fact that the deep state bipartisanly is making its move. This is a real attack. And people better get serious and better get that because it's on. And that Trump's going to have to engage in major leadership and show that he is in charge, or they're going to continue to threaten and attack all of his supporters and all of his biggest boosters and the Senate and the House, where there's major blackmail operations going on. It doesn't matter he did nothing. They will remove him. And then they're coming after everybody. They're already coming after everybody, but they say, oh, the system that got him elected, we have to crush them. We have to level them. We have to show them. And you're like, well, we'll just hold our powder. Well, that's good, except they're going to stage stuff to be the victims. So they've got all these movies in production, and they've tried to put them out, and they've put them out where patriots go out and shoot up everybody, and the Joker's meant to do that, and they've got movies in production where they're literally blaming me for mass shootings that are coming. I'll get to that next hour if I have time. There's an article up on Infowars.com with video of it. You know, but they're the ones all calling for violence. Then they say we're causing it? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't need to make sense. These mentally ill followers can hold two opposite thoughts in their mind at the same time. It's called doublethink. And they've got it. They just want to be on the winning team. They think they're on the winning team. And you look at them, they all look like they've had their souls sucked out. That's because they're followers. And because leaders have just decided in the modern world that it's not your job to be involved, your job politically fighting. Evil has taken over. And now you can't even, at a press conference for the NBA, say, hey, what's your view, players, on free expression? Well, their view is, they said, next question, we're not answering that. They jerked the mic away from her. See how it works? Suddenly there's no speech, nothing. It's whoever the biggest bully is, whoever has the biggest gun. Now you say, which way's the wind blow, master? And fentanyl, the Chinese Communist wagon, good American. Because they believe in something. The Communist Party, it's evil. You believe in nothing. I know our audience believes in everything. Good. But I'm saying the soullessness of America, the emptiness, the seeking after baubles, the seeking after the latest entertainment, it does not fulfill. Now, if you're fighting corruption, if you're engaged, if you're involved, then everything's more vivid. Colors and food and knowledge and music and sex. And you're like, why would anyone ever want to serve evil? Everything under evil is empty, flavorless. Only the search for degeneracy creates like a carrot in the mind that you hope you can reach, that then you would have happiness. But it's not the happiness. It's the empty search for those that are empty. Emptiness upon emptiness upon emptiness, a hall of mirrors, an infinity of nothingness. Why would anyone want to sign on to that? Because there's something missing. A lot of people in this phase of humanity are NPCs. They've got so many generations of empty people before them that sold out, that now they are a shadow of a human. And what little free will they had was given up early. And now they're nothing but drones. I'm going to go to your calls. Jennifer in California, you're on the air. Thanks for holding. Welcome to the airwaves. What do you think's happening right now? How much danger is Trump in?
Well, he's in a massive amount of danger. At first, I want to say I'm a 12-year listener. Thank you for all that you do. I use your entire product line. I pray for you, your family, your entire team daily. I cover you in prayer. I want to say, you know, Trump's message last night was fantastic. I'm disappointed that he doesn't give you credit publicly, because you do, in fact, know, as he knows, you got him elected. The listeners got him elected. So that's a disappointment. But in terms of the fact that, you know, he's in danger, if he doesn't start using his bully pulpit and declare a national state of emergency and suspend Congress and arrest them, these usurpers, these fraudsters, these liars and cheaters, if he doesn't get aggressive and take the offense and deal with them and arrest them, he could be taken down entirely. His life is at stake. On the same, you know, turn, if they do their crimes that they've committed are in danger of being exposed if they go to the full measure of impeaching him. Okay, so on one hand, they're trying to, you know, play both sides. They're calling him on the carpet. They're pretending like they're going to take him.
Yeah, they're saying that he's done everything they've done, and because the Justice Department hasn't done its job, it's created this paradox. And look, I don't care about not getting credit. I got credit by the left and the media and got demonized, and they came after us for the credit. You know, the credit just puts a big mark in your head. I just want to see action. But yes, Trump got there because he knew to go on this show and knew to be populist, and his message, his InfoWars message, is just common sense. It's Americana. But the people around him getting him to, quote, play it safe and stay on script, they're the problem. And they're the ones that are going along with the system, and they're the ones that are leaking. They're the ones that are double dealing and are double agents who are, you know, worried about what happens if he does get taken out. They're the ones that aren't all in. And so, I mean, I do agree with what you're saying. Again, we need to see, I mean, as for suspending Congress, we don't need to do that. We have the Senate. If the Democrats, you know, try to impeach him, there's nothing really there. But see, they don't care because it's all about threats. And so we have to wonder, will Trump end up resigning, or will he stand up and fight? I just don't know what you do when you're surrounded by a bunch of cowards. I mean, really, I think it comes down to us, Jennifer, is that Trump is totally surrounded. And so instead of a 1 million-man march up to D.C. the media ignores, we need 1 million people without orders from headquarters, like I said, to go to D.C. this month. I mean, by the middle of November, I think everybody listening right now, and I say I'll do it, but everyone needs to go to D.C. And, I mean, you go to those halls, they're almost empty. Senate buildings, House office buildings, there's only 5 or 6 of them. I've been in most of them. And you're literally walking by, and there they all are. And there's their offices. And you'll see maybe a dozen or so Soros people that you always see. And you'll see a couple, you know, maybe 30, 40 media people. You can just go take over. Go to their offices. Go talk to them. And, I mean, I think that's really the answer. And I think taking over live media events when they're out in public, I mean, I think that's the answer. Thank you, Jennifer. God bless you. I went to one call this segment. Let's go to another one. Let's go to Misty in West Virginia. Misty, thanks for holding. Go ahead.
Hello, Alex. I'm going to try to make this quick before a commercial gets me. You talk about us being the resistance. We are the resistance. There's a song by Skillet called The Resistance. So I think we are really in danger of seeing this president be impeached if the American people do not wake up and get off their asses and do something. I don't know. I'm so excited about ban.video. And it's just amazing to be able to use your iPhone and, you know, put it right there on your home screen, click, and it's there. But that made me think, you mentioned you had around 20 million views. If you were to maybe team up, I think there's a marketing group that works with Drudge Report, Intermarket, advertisement company.
Yes, we are. We've advertised on that before. I was listening to you. And we are intending, if we get the funds, to advertise ban.video on Intermarkets. We got a good response to promoting Infowars.com/show. And we're going to promote ban.video. Stay there, though. I want to come back to you, Misty, and finish up with why you think Trump's in so much danger. He obviously is. We all are. And so all I'm saying is we better not take stuff for granted, and we better all decide to do something right now. I mean, anybody can go up to D.C. and confront these people. We'll be right back. We should be having a whole discussion about what happens if they do remove Trump, and what is that process like? They are openly trying to start a civil war. They've decided to have one whether Trump's removed or not. And all the politicians being threatened and the media people going along with this need to know that the establishment means business. And all the acquiescence that Trump has had to big tech censorship has only greenlit this. The first thing you do before you take over a population is silence them. Then you demonize them. Then you start setting them up with false flags and persecuting them. And they're saying white men are terrorists, white men are evil, white men are bad. I haven't even gotten to clips yet of just city council meetings and state house meetings where people scream at white members of the government and say, shut up, you're white man, shut up. I mean, it is the most racist craziness, but it's designed for total control. And universities saying no whites allowed this weekend, or universities having events where they teach that whites are inherently bad. And then whites go, I'm sorry, I capitulate, Stockholm Syndrome, I'll do what you say. The idea that because your dad did something wrong, you're bad is evil. The idea because some white people in history did something is so authoritarian and so out of control that because white people did something in history, you're guilty? If I said because Charlie Manson killed some people, he's a white guy, I'm a bad person, you'd say that's crazy. Or because Bill Cosby might have raped some women, now black guys are all bad, you'd say that's crazy. But it's being done. In fact, I'll play that clip next segment, just one of these clips, but we're going to your calls right now. Misty in West Virginia, you're saying call to action. What types of things do you think we should do to let the deep state know we're not intimidated? I mean, I think we should be on the offense where people should be everywhere.
Yeah.
When the Democratic candidates go out and get in their face, but I think also everyone should go to NBA games with a T-shirt under a sweater saying free Hong Kong or free speech. Just free speech, I bet they throw you out. Or free expression, or, you know, Google China organs, or stuff like that. If everyone did it, they'd have, we'll totally take over. We have to show them we have the power and that we're not jellyfish.
Right. Well, I think it's really hard for Americans. I think we're tight on money. I really think that we should, like, it should be, like, fit into our budget how much we would donate, like, to this resistance. So, I mean, my first point was maybe your team could come up with a petition, because the political development director at Intermarket, he launched a conservative petition site to challenge the left-leaning change.org. If your team could come up with, like, a petition for, you know, all of your listeners and viewers to sign a petition and let Congress, or however you would word it, to let them know that we're not going to accept this coup attempt. I mean, when you have intelligence, the intelligence community openly talking about, you know, arresting this president or shanking him, killing him, having him thrown in solitary confinement, and I mean, this is. I don't think they will stop at anything. And
no, you're right. I didn't know that Intermarkets, they're good folks, pro-free speech. I didn't know they'd launch a petition site. You're absolutely right. We shouldn't be using change.org that then just gets everybody's info and they use it for data mining. That's a total surveillance site. People should be using an independent new one. So do you happen to have the URL for Intermarket's new petition site?
It's called standunited.org.
Oh, I've seen that. Okay. Standunited.org. Okay. God bless you. Great points. Thank you so much, Misty from West Virginia. I want to go to West Virginia. I've never been to West Virginia. It's one of the few states I haven't been to. I've been to Alaska. And I want to drive into that whole multi-thousand square mile area where the government bans all radio frequency. I want to experience it. They say it's so peaceful. Okay, let's go ahead and take another call here. Let's talk to John in North Carolina. Thanks for holding, John.
Hey, Alex.
Hi.
Been listening for about a year, and I just want to thank you for spreading the truth. Most importantly, the truth with the truth, the way, and the light, Jesus Christ. I appreciate you invoking that name for a long time. I wondered, is this man a Christian? And I'm glad that you are, brother, and I'm glad that you've been studying the Word and you're on with it. My question to you is, Alex, Do you think that the left and the establishment have threatened the Senate and scared the Senate enough to where they would be able to get this president removed?
Well, I mean, I know all hell's been breaking loose around here since Hillary lost. And I went through all the stuff that's going on. It's like a movie. But it's criminal. And I know for senators, reportedly, it's even worse. And they harass your wives, your family, your neighbors, your grandma, your parents. They do stuff to your folks if they're in an old folks home. I mean, these people are dirty. They come after your kids. They come to your house. And then they've got all these other people hating you if you're a prominent conservative that just do all sorts of dirty things to you. And so it's a real commitment. But you got to understand, it's going to get much worse if they totally take over. This just shows how bad these people are. So absolutely, Pat Buchanan has an excellent article, Is Impeachment Now Inevitable? It's linked up on Infowars.com. It's on DrudgeReport.com. It's from WorldNetDaily.com. And, you know, Pat walks through why this is so serious. And there's some other articles I'll get to coming up a little bit later, maybe even next segment, where where the left is gleefully looking at why they think they have it, and so that's why this is so important to let people know this isn't like having Congressman Al Green introduce stuff 7 or 8 times. That's just to get you used to it, so you don't think it's serious when they actually attack. And again, you know how the U.S. invaded Panama in '89. You know how they did that, right, when George Herbert Walker Bush got in. They did drills for a year. They were going to invade with blanks, so that when they finally attacked the Panamanian Defense Forces, they blinked for about 5 minutes till most of them were knocked out because they didn't know it was a real assault. And so that's why they've been impeach like parrots since Trump got elected, so that when they make the real assault, people don't take it serious. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, absolutely. And Alex, one other point. You brought this up, I think it was last week's show, and this is a big lie in the church, in the Christian community, is the rapture theory. Everyone thinking, hey, we're going to fly away one day, and that's not what's in the Bible. That's not the truth.
No, it says Christ defeats the devil at Armageddon. The archangel bounds him, puts him into a cage where everybody can see him for 1,000 years, and that the dead in Christ are risen. I guess it means they're in a purgatory if you believe the Bible, but these preachers don't follow the Bible. So they're basically frozen, and then, boom, then you're raised up and joined with Christ, in the air, in space. Your spirits go join with God. So that's a good point. Anything else, John?
What else? What do you think happens if he does get pulled out? What do you think about Mike Pence? Do you think he pulls the Lyndon Johnson, like JFK? JFK gets on the silver standard, gets away from the World Bank. Boom, he's gone. And what does his vice president do?
Let me ask you what you think. That's a good question. You sound like a smart guy. Let me ask you, John, when we come back. Stay with us. Get into some areas of how the media is trying to program folks to absolutely accept a civil war. So that is coming up here in just a moment. I just want to remind listeners of something very, very important here. And that is that we have really great products that will improve your life and make it a lot better. And then when you buy those products, it also funds this operation. So that really is a win-win-win and something that everybody should do. Let me give you an example. I'm going to go back to your phone calls. And I'm going to try to move quick now through the calls. We've got a lot to, obviously, get to. We're running a combo special right now of a high-quality bottle of colloidal silver that is so good internally or topically with a bottle of immune wall, beta-glucan, and olive leaf that everyone should be taking in the fall and winter. Now, I want to explain something. We could sit there and run a bunch of ads for immune wall and sell all of what I've got. Only got like 3,000 bottles of it in the next month. So I could sell this for $20 all day long and end up selling out of it. But I just go with my gut. And I was sitting there and I said, you know what? I'm just going to sell a bottle of immune wall that costs us like $8 for the bottle. It's really high quality, with a bottle of Silver Bullet that was normally $19.95. Together for $19.95. Now, that's an incredible deal. because I want you to see how great immune wall is and how great the colloidal silver is, especially people that have been on the fence about having this in your medicine cabinet. But you want to take the immune wall. I mean, this is so good for you. The beta glucan, what it's been proven to do for your cells, your body, and fighting off disease, and olive leaf. These are the two biggest things you can do for yourself and your children, and they're totally healthy and good for you. No side effects of beta glucan and olive leaf. Everybody needs immune wall. I'm taking it because I was sitting there. The fall's here. I remember it. I go get it. I'm taking it. I'm giving some to my daughter. A little bit of a sore throat. So we're taking some colloidal silver. It went away right away. And I'm like, you know, this just goes together. So let me give this to people at an insane deal. There's 30-something specials like this on the site right now. These are the biggest specials we've ever done. It's the Everything Must Go super sale. Everything is 30. The banner says 40, but there's a few things that are 30. 30 to 70% off. Again, I have to do the skin cream at that because at 40% with free shipping, we lose money on it. We lost a lot of money on the silver cream at 50% off. I just said 50% off everything, and it's a supplement. Well, it's not really classed as a supplement, so that was a mistake. We sold out of all the 3-ounce tubes of it at that. Of course we did. Just a normal hyaluronic cream at the store you can't get for half that price. This has the patented silver, all of it in it. So there's just a bunch of specials right now on the site. I'm not going to go over them all. I mean, here's an example. People have been asking, how have you suddenly lost? It's now 26 pounds. As I said like 22 the other day. I hadn't weighed in about a week. It's now 26 pounds in 49 days. And I've just been exercising and taking gut fusion every morning and the colloidal silver and taking the knockout and the chill force to sleep better, and just all synergistically together, I've felt incredibly good and have been incredibly healthy. But take gut fusion. It's 1995. Nobody's got a natural, healthy gut flush like this. And I'm not going to go into all the stuff that's in it. It's amazing. Everybody should be taking this. It's got 7 reviews, 100% review. Okay, so I'm just going to stop right there. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. And that's how we fund our operation. Now, here's what happened today. I got super prepared last night and this morning in here. I have literally probably 50 clips to get to. I haven't gotten to put 5 of them. I have tons of amazing callers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this board of calls, everybody that's holding, John, Laura, Robert, Justin, Kevin, Forrest, Corbin, Duncan, Tim, and Craig, and that's it. Because then I need to get to all these clips as well and all these other big reports I haven't hit yet, because it's all very important. So thanks for holding. Let's finish up with John, North Carolina, though. What do you think happens? I mean, I don't think they're going to let Trump be removed and then not remove Pence. They've said that everywhere. The Democrats have said they intend to threaten them with prison so that they accept Pelosi as the president. So they're not even saying, oh, we'll find something criminal on Pence. They're saying we'll terrorize them all through criminal action. We have the Justice Department. We have the media, they believe. And we're going to remove them all. So I think your answer is they're going to remove Pence. They're going to remove everybody. It's going to be a reign of terror. They're going to blow up federal buildings and blame it on us. And they're going to start coming and trying to hunt us down. I mean, it's on. I mean, it's Chinese communist model system. It's here. This is the Cultural Revolution. This is the Great Leap Forward. This is the takedown of America.
To get there, they're going to have to get the conservatives, and they're going to get the neocons anyways in the Senate to vote to remove him. So at that point, I mean, either Pence steps down or he falls in line and does what he's told.
That's not going to happen. They're going to get rid of Pence. But let me just say this right now. Everybody better get this through their heads. If you ever listen to one thing I said, especially all the little Politico types who think, oh, well, if Trump leaves or stays, doesn't matter. We'll just play both sides. The globalists are going to cut everybody out of the equation. They're going to a pure authoritarian model, and everyone is going to wish they would have stopped us, including liberals and Democrats. The road we're going is the end of America, nightmare scenario, Venezuela on steroids. I appreciate your call, sir. Okay, let's go to, let's go to Justin, and then Kevin, and then Forrest. Justin, thanks for holding from Kentucky. Go ahead. All right, Justin may not be there. Let's go ahead. Go ahead, Justin.
Hello?
Yes, welcome.
Oh, Alex, it's so great to get to talk to you. I'm a longtime listener, 13 years. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. But you know they're coming for our children and our families and are already chemtrailing us, so we're all in this together. I mean, I'm just trying to survive, but I thank you for trying to survive as well.
Absolutely. You know, I think this whole thing has been blown out of proportion with, you know, Biden. This is all just the liberal media trying to take advantage of all the events of the world. You know, I think they plan most of it. But then the few things they don't, they say, oh, this is great. Oh, this is great.
Oh, they admit that. They rig a lot of it, but they also, they call it crisis governing. They create crises to make money out of the crises they're prepositioned for. But you're right. When new stuff pops up, they don't let a good crisis go to waste.
No, they just use it so that they can mischaracterize the president and move forward with whatever dark plans they have for us.
Well, we know what those dark plans are. It's just absolute evil on steroids, It's just people deciding they want to be evil because it gives them power on this planet.
Absolutely.
How do you think the Democrats are setting Trump up?
I think that they're taking every little thing that he says in every interview, anything he says, and they're doing the classic thing, you know. They'll take what you say and they'll cut 3 words out and splice it all together, and they just twist.
That's right,
the
but they're still there. The media is still there, and the indictments haven't happened. So I'm going to say it again. As much as I like Trump and know that he's being persecuted and crucified, we're all getting hung up with him here. And so why there's paralyzation from Trump on the censorship and the indictments, which I know he's pissed about people that are in those meetings, but then he's just got to keep firing people till he gets people in there that will take action. Because again, this is about public safety, ladies and gentlemen. The left are a bunch of degenerate scum funded by multinational special interests and the Chi-Coms. When I get into the news, boy, there's a lot of it. I mean, there's so many articles now where U.S. companies are bowing to China and then picking up official communist propaganda so that they don't cause any problems. I'll tell you what, you just tell us what to say. And China's like, well done, now you'll get it. Do not let anyone talk about free expression. That's a quote. Yes, master. Wow. See how fast that happened? See how fast? See how that works? You know, they had big international video game tournaments where one superstar, it's as big as sports now, said, you know, I'm support Hong Kong freedom. Don't hold up a sign at a game in the U.S. Senate, they'll throw you out. Well, now Google blacklist Hong Kong protest game because China doesn't like it. And Apple just deleted an app that let you follow the protest because China said no. Remember, you can move to China and get 0% corporate taxes, just like Ireland. The difference is in Ireland, if corporation gets mad at you, they don't get to kill you. Oh, in China, if you're in with the Communist Party, you just make a phone call. Whoever, that employee that smarted off, they're dead. Liberal. Or they're in a forced labor camp. Oh, but we shouldn't be threatened by this at all. The Democrats are just everywhere saying, arrest conservatives. And I saw 2 articles this week where people making the image of a gun finger got arrested. Somebody claimed. They claimed they pointed their finger at them and they were threatened by it. It looked like a gun. One was a kid in school, another was an adult. Like, well, that's not the law. People don't care now. There it is. Child charged with felony for pointing finger gun in school. We'll all be much safer now, right? Going back to the calls here. Laura in Alabama, you're on the air. Thanks for holding, Laura.
Hello, Alex. I hope everything's well with you.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm sitting here watching absolute insanity unfold.
I know, but you know us Southerners, we're just polite to a fault.
Sure.
I wanted to let you know specifically that, and I know a lot of other people have said this, but I want you to know how many people are praying for you. There's a lot, hundreds and thousands of people praying for you.
Well, I can feel it and I need it because I think the bad guys are saying some naughty prayers.
Well, it doesn't work that way, but okay.
I know. I'm saying they're praying to their God.
Prayers, as far as I know.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to tell people too to pray specifically. I've learned that specific prayer is even better than general. Pray for you, pray for InfoWars, pray for the host specifically, which I do every day.
Thank you.
And pray for health and safety, and expanding your reach and your influence, and increasing your sales, and increasing your territory, and increasing the amount of money that InfoWars brings in, so you can do that.
Well,
so
it definitely works, and because God's real, and thank you. Just please pray for my discernment. I really need, I want the brain boost. Believe me, I've already got it a few times, but I can handle it now, I think. And I would ask you humbly to please pray for my discernment and all of our discernment to be increased.
I do, and I consider you very prophetic. I think you speak a lot of things that you can see coming that a lot of other people can't. So I pray for discernment and for you to be able to have these prophetic moments. But I have faith in you. I know it will continue.
Thank you.
And I use all of your products. There's a lot of synergy in your products, and I use many of them. And I wanted just to comment, I got the Super Silver, the grapefruit scented, and I read all the ingredients when I got it, and I have made my own skin cream in the past when I have time. And really, it's the same ingredients I would have used, very high quality, not that many ingredients really, but very good quality, and there's a scent, but it's not like heavy or fakey. It's really nice.
Sure, it's just natural fruit from the what's the name of it?
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit. I'm teleprompter free. And of course, then we have one that doesn't have scent as well.
And I think there's lavender too, but I just love fresh citrusy smell. So I really like the cream, and it's very thick, and I really like it. So just wanted to pass that along.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your support.
And about Trump being impeached, I tend to be a person that says, why now? Why this? Why so fast? What's behind everything? I tend to look at that instead of just what it is. And I think that it's not just one thing, of course. A lot of the people have commented that, about, I think Ukraine is a crux. And I think there's been so much dirty dealing there, and there's so much fear, of course, of that being found out and being, they don't, cockroaches don't like a light being shown on them. And so I think that that's part of it. And I also wanted to question you on this because I haven't heard anybody say anything about this. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg has pancreatic cancer, which they can put a smile on it all they want to in the media.
At her age, the prognosis is no more than 6 months. And I was going to start the show today with they want Trump out because they don't want him to get another person on the Supreme Court. And that's why this is for all the marbles. You're absolutely right. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she's not going to live more, I would think, than 2 or 3 more months because they diagnosed her with it, 2-3 months ago.
And that's what I'm thinking. And I kept thinking, no one's saying anything about her. And when you're the quietest is when I have a lot of suspicion. But do you think that they've been given a time frame maybe, and they're all of a sudden like, we got to get him out?
Oh, I totally agree. I think she's on death's doorstep. I mean, if you're 50 years old and you get pancreatic cancer, like the average is maybe 8-9 months. If you're as old as she is and had all the cancer before and all the surgeries, I mean, I tried to look up the prognosis, but they said somebody at that age with those complications, we're talking months.
Months, yes. I asked one of my friend's husbands who's a physician. He said months.
I did some research on it at the time, yeah, and that what was like 2-3 months ago they announced it. They sat on it for a while when she was in those surgeries, so she's definitely getting really, top of the line care. So maybe instead of 2 months, 4 months, so she should be dead in a month or two.
And do you think that they're just like, he can't have one more? If he got one more selection, which I don't think they would let him have, I think that it could balance the Supreme Court to the right for a long time.
That's right, because Bush put in some of the ones that are currently there, and they're like fake conservatives. But if Trump keeps getting people like the last two who aren't perfect, they like some police state stuff, and but I mean, compared to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they're like angels. Absolutely, it is. But listen, don't think the globalists won't kill a bunch of Supreme Court justices or something. I mean, they are really out of control. They're really dangerous. But the reason they're really panicking is they had the police, to a certain extent 20 years ago, kind of not awake, bought into the Kool-Aid on federal funds, doing a lot of asset forfeiture seizure. The cops were out of control in some areas a few years ago. But when they tried to federalize police and killed a bunch of cops and tried to threaten them and tried to make them join the New World Order and gave the police training manuals under Obama that said veterans and gun owners and the founding fathers are bad and the UN's going to tell you what to do, all the patriots had given police, because of Jack McClam and others obsessing on waking police up, which was true. So I obsessed on it. My listeners obsessed on it. So every cop I ever run into, who's been around a while, goes, I've been handed your videos 10 times. I've been sent Jack McClam stuff 100 times. And you know what? I'm glad I was. It was all true. So the cops, when all this came out, they went, well, I already know all about this. It's true. We had almost complete conversion of police the last 15 years. I mean, I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, the police have gone from being a net, corrupt organization because the public's corrupt, not all of them, but a good portion, to now the police are, because they're informed how the world works. They know about corruption. They know about gangs, manipulation. So they were kind of in la-la land for a while. A lot of cops were awake. But now the cops that warned everybody, their phones ring off the hook. I mean, I was talking to a lot of retired police chiefs, retired colonels, generals, you name it, even 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and they said, listen, Alex, we're winning. People used to not believe me. Now they all believe me, and my phone literally rings every day. And the police beg me to come to their events and speak to them privately. And so the cops have absolutely know what's going on now. And that's got to scare the globalists, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And police officers are also going to have firsthand sight and knowledge of what happens when you have unfettered illegal immigration, and it's going to come into all communities, not just
they see the massive crime, and they see Hispanics being fed on by the illegal aliens. That's why in real polls, something like, well, even in AP polls, Gallup polls had 76% of Hispanics want more border wall and more, because they're not dumb. They know what's going on in Latin America. They don't want criminals who have criminal records running up here and running back and forth, hopping back and forth. Exactly. There's a total shift of awakening happening. And so that's why you're seeing all the tyranny. God bless you. I appreciate your call. She was a great caller. I just spent most of the segment with her. I've got to get to the clips. See, I was planning to take off Sunday and spend time with my family. I haven't really taken any vacations in a while. And it's just not right to not go camping with my daughters, especially. They just love it. They just love it. I didn't do it enough with Rex, and he did a lot of hunting and stuff, but he's grown up now. And they just are begging to go shooting and camping. They're just begging to go fishing. It's so hard to say no to them. I mean, Daddy, I want to go hunting. Daddy, I want to go shooting. Daddy, I want to go fishing. That's just like, oh. I already screwed up. Didn't take Rex as much as I should have, but I'll tell you, these girls, I'm going to do it. I'm trying to take off Sunday. Mike Adams is sitting in, but I got to get to these clips or I won't be able to do it. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us. Hour number 4, straight ahead. All right, let's move quick, because this is going to be a jam-packed 4th hour. Believe me, we're going to play some stuff that's just over the top. I thought about not playing it, not giving it attention, but the people that gave me the info were so distressed about what they learned that's involved in not just this production, but others. Are right. People need to know what's going on. That's coming up. I'm not going to tell you about it until I play it. Kevin in not North Carolina, it's another caller in North Carolina. Kevin in New York City, you're on the air. Go ahead. Thanks for holding.
Alex, how you doing?
Good, brother. Thank you for holding.
All right. So I'm want to talk about impeachment, but real quick, on a molecular level, I just want to talk about what I'm seeing in New York. I work for this private bank, and they forced us to watch this video. It's supposed to be on sexual harassment. But it was actually about talking about the gender identity. And it tells us, rather than saying that some people believe that there's more than one sexual identity, gender, that there is a definitive number of genders, right? And then my son goes to school in New York City, and he was forced to be a part of this whole walkout for the global change, climate change. So they're coming at us from all different levels. And I believe that a lot of people are not really buying into this, because I have conversations with the limo drivers, the taxi drivers, just the regular day people. A lot of people are not buying into this. So they're trying to get us on a molecular level that I see in my life. So I don't really think that in New York that people are really going to buy into this impeachment thing.
No, you're absolutely right. But what they're doing is normalizing it, and then each generation gets more used to it. And I agree, the impeachment's not going to be popular, but they're still trying to go ahead with it. Then they think a civil war they're going to stage, false flags and blame on us will take them over the top. That's why this is so dangerous, is they really intend to carry it out. But, America and the West is a giant open-air re-education camp. All the sensitivity training, all the stuff that's going on that I'm going to play some clips of coming up is part of that. And we have to not just not accept it. We have to say it's not your moral authority to tell me I'm bad because I'm white, or tell me I'm bad because I'm a male, or tell me that I can't wear a shirt to an NBA game saying free Hong Kong. Again, they're just normalizing it, so you still won't agree with it, but you'll be, oh, where'd Bob go? Well, he got arrested. He made an OK sign, or somebody thought he pointed the symbol of a gun at him. I mean, how many people, when they talk about something, go, it's right over there, and point like it's a gun? I do it all the time because I like using cool hand signals. I go, hey, hey, slick. Man, that's a cool truck. In fact, I've been thinking about this, the symbols I use with my hands without thinking. Here's an example. Man, that's a slick car. And I tend to do like a gunshot. Obama does it too, like, hey, or you see a kid walking in with a cool shirt, and you go, hey, slick sport, how's school? That's a gun, but it's not really a gun. It's just like, hey, or pew, pew, pew. That's your right to do that. It's not a threat. It's not a real threat. But, oh, okay symbol, that's white supremacy. Yeah, they know it's not a white supremacist symbol. Again, they are saying, we're the high priest, we have the jurisdiction, and we have the power over all language and symbols. Well, that's, God gives us free will and doesn't tell us what symbols to use. These people are trying to be above God. Does that make sense, Kevin?
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's scary how they're coming after our kids. Because, I'm a middle-class kind of guy in New York City. And I have to send my kid to the public school because the private schools.
No, I understand. They take your money for property taxes, and then they do it. And the private schools are like that too. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, man. I just want to say thank you for all the hard work. And one thing you were saying about we should all go to Washington. I think you should put a definitive date on the calendar because I think that way we get everybody there. I'll be there, and we go down there en masse. It's the only way to get
that's a great thing to do. They can get ready for that. I think you just pick the committee you think's important, start nosing around, looking at committee things, who you want to confront, what telecom chief, what globalist, and then you just go to it. I appreciate your call, though. But here's the thing. If I announce the date I'm going to be in D.C., that'll be wild, but maybe I should do that. Kevin, thank you so much. Wow, just to think how far we've come and people waking up. But that's because it's how far the enemy's come in setting up this tyranny. We got 4 or 5 more calls left, and then I'm blitzing through news. There's so much coming up in this hour. Please stay with us and tell others about the broadcast. Thank you. I'm going to take another segment or so of calls, and then I've got just a totally jam-packed rest of the hour. I'm just going to get to that when I get to it, but believe me, you're going to want to stay with us. But right now, let's go back to your phone calls. Corbin in Austin, Texas. Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Alex, what's up, man? How are you today?
I'm watching them. They got their knives out. They're coming for Trump, and I just don't think the public realizes how dangerous this is.
It is so obvious and so scary. But, I was drinking my Patriot Boat this morning, and I just put it all together. I'm feeling really good about the impeachment. I think that we should all hope he gets impeached in the House. And I say that because that exposes them to something they never had before. And that's going to be public Senate hearings that are going to be televised, which the president is going to have something he's never had before. And that's subpoena power to subpoena anyone him and his lawyers want. And that includes Glenn Simpson, Christopher Steele, Bruce Orr, Hillary Brennan, Clapper, Page, Stork, Comey, anyone they want. Also, during this impeachment, the Horowitz report's going to come out. The Durham report's going to come out. The Democrats are all going to be exposed. It's going to provide a roadmap for how corrupt and how there is a coup on the president, and I can't see them surviving it.
Sir, Corbin, I totally agree with you that if Trump had warriors with him that knew how to use this and knew how to expose the enemy, that he would end up winning. Once they go to that, though, they're going to intensify the threats. They're going to have a stampede of panicking. They're going to have all these other people they're threatening to indict for things that aren't connected to Trump. That will create a massive of energy, like stampeding lemmings off a cliff that they believe will remove Trump. But if he holds fast, and if we hold fast, absolutely, the attempt to impeach him, if he doesn't just resign, and they actually try to remove him in the Senate, that's what you're talking about, is if they get the impeachment, that means begin the trial in the Senate for removal. If it actually goes to the Senate, it'll be just like Kavanaugh as the wheels come off and as it's all proven to be made up lies and will blow up in their face spectacularly. And I agree with some of his analysts. He'll win 45 states.
Oh, I agree. I think this is going to be a great awakening for the American people who are living in their bubbles and their CNN and MSNBC concubines. It's going to be like, wow, this is actually happening. And I'm very curious to see if he's going to move quickly on the 28,000 sealed indictments that he has. I mean, that's 27,000 more indictments than Obama had that were sealed. I think there could be like a RICO deep state move that he has to make. I mean, this deep state's been in since the 1930s, since we sold our country out to the Federal Reserve and the central banks, and they're terrified of what's going on. And they
well, Corbin, yes, that's exactly what's really going on. Is there's been a deep state of corruption selling us out 7 ways to Sunday. They've gotten away with all of it. And now they were going to fully implode the country, and some people said, let's not do that. And so now there's a fight over that because the people running things really hate America. It's metaphysical, it's spiritual. I appreciate your call. Really good points. Okay, who's up next here? Who's been holding the longest now? Forrest in Ohio. Forrest, thanks for calling.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Alex. To piggyback off the last caller, I think it's interesting you talked about Trump could possibly win 45 states. Because I was thinking if he totally rips the blanket off this whole thing at the right time, it's entirely possible that this could just be an election of legendary measurements, you know?
Oh, if he could find a few men or women who would actually follow through on the indictments, which we know there are a bunch of sealed ones. We know McCabe got indicted. That's confirmed. They brought it up to the Deputy Attorney General. It's their job to shoot something down. They have that fail-safe for them, for the deep state. And they said, no, we're not going to say no to the indictment. So the indictments are out there. So you're not half pregnant. We're pregnant with taking down the deep state. They want to abort the baby. The war is on. So we just need to get this thing over with, roll up our sleeves.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the swing states won't actually be a swing state if it all works out and everything gets uncovered and you know, the trickle up effect going up to Obama happens. I mean, there's no way that people can actually, you know, justify, and they're, even if they're a far left liberal, I mean, this is just crazy. And states that are deep blue like New York, California, it makes me wonder, like, how far to the right are they going to go? Maybe them could be a swing state. So that's just a piggyback off the last caller, Alex. But about the censorship, one thing I thought of, I think it's entirely possible that Trump might be using the surrounding of the Marines around the White House, and then you talked a couple days ago about him going into the media outlets and arresting some of them people. I think that might be like a tip-off as to how he's going to go about getting the censorship issue under control, too. What do you think about that?
I know that Google and Facebook were set up by the deep state. That's not even debated. And I know that they are sharing all the data with the NSA. And so Trump has the super Trump card on all of them. And they just won't stop doing it. So at a certain point, he's complicit. And that's why we have to light a fire under his butt. Because we are hearing rhetoric from Trump and Giuliani we haven't heard about indictments and Obama being a crook and Hillary. Yeah, so Trump's moving in the right direction. God bless you. I appreciate your call. Okay, we've got Duncan, Tim, Greg, Robert, and a few others. But, man, I have this tendency to get really prepared for the show and then just hold it all when I take calls and cover news. But I may just have to host some of the War Room today with Owen. Because I'm so, well, no. Let me do this. Let me come back, because I promised I'd do this, and let me start getting into all these reports and all these clips. And then if these folks want to hold, I'll get to them after that, because I promised I'd get to the news. Robert, Craig, Tim, and Duncan. If not, we'll get your numbers. You can ask them. I'll call them back on Monday. They'll be front of the line, because Mike Adams is hosting the Sunday show, 4 to 6 p.m. I'm going to file some reports as well, but I'm going to do it from the woods, because I'm taking my 2 middle daughters and my little daughter. I'm taking all 3 of my daughters out doing some camping and shooting and stuff like that. I've got to have some R&R. I'm going to go crazy. I think everybody understands that I got to go do some forest bathing, as they say. But I'm going to come back, and I'm going to pick which one of these big things I want to get to first on the other side. But just stay there, please. A lot of great callers. We're running a huge special. It's the biggest special we've ever run on some items. I can't do store-wide 50% off because a bunch of stuff sold out. A bunch of things are about to sell out. And a bunch of products at 50% off are at cost or below. But I do have deals where you can get Immune Wall, that has beta, glucans, and olive leaf. Nothing is going to boost your body's own natural immunity to viruses and bacteria like this immune wall formula. It's a very nice, high-quality organic formula. It is $19.95 with a bottle of that, because you're going to the fall and winter with a silver bullet, high-quality colloidal silver together, $19.95. That is an incredible deal. And that's so good for your immune system. And we've only got a few thousand bottles of the immune wall. You got plenty of the colloidal silver at that price. So it's get that for $19.95. The 2 bottles is just unprecedented. It's $360 immune defense combo. No reviews yet for that combo because we just launched it yesterday. But both those items individually have hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews. I think even more for the colloidal silver. And that's just one of the specials we've got running on the site right now. Everything Must Go emergency super sale, 40 to 70% off. Dozens of products. It's actually way more than dozens. It's more than 100 products. And some stuff's at 30%. So just be sure and check it all out. Survival Shield X3, you can get 70% off the 2-ounce bottle. That is at cost. You've got 360 Immune Defense Combo with Immune Wall and Silver Bullet, $19.95. That's 71% off. Gut Fusion, 50% off. Survival Shield X3 1-ounce bottle, 60% off. Vaso Beats is so good. Read about that. The natural nitrous oxide it creates, so good for your heart. 50% off. Ultimate Fish and Krill Oils, 25% off. That's about to all sell out. Super Silver Skin Cream, the 1-ounce bottles are 30% off. Plus lots of other great items. Knockout the Sleep Aid, 50% off. Protein Bars, 50% off. Ultra 12 is amazing, 50% off. Bodies, Ultimate Turmeric Formula. Wound Gel, 50% off. That's an incredible deal right there. In fact, that shouldn't even be on there. That's another mistake. I would give President Trump an A+ for his speeches and attacking globalism and the New World Order and communism and one-sided trade deals and how the so-called American elite are actually anti-Americans hired and infiltrated in to take over. That's why they hate us. And it's so obvious America should rise up and say no and embrace Trump and embrace InfoWars and take the nation back. So many people have been poisoned, they've been stunted, they've been brainwashed, they've been manipulated. Let's play some of these incredible clips from last night. Here's President Trump on Biden and how the deep state's been looting America with China, looting and pillaging. Here it is.
President Trump made a totally unsubstantiated claim about Hunter Biden and his father. It's not unsubstantiated, you crooked son of a guns. It's 100% true. Even the smart guys on Wall Street, and I know all of them, they are smart. They've never seen anything like that one before. I've called them. Does that ever happen? Never happens. Guy walks in, no experience, no nothing. Walks out with $1.5 billion. Gee, flies in on Air Force Two with his father, the vice president. Don't forget, that's when he was vice president. So China gives his son $1.5 billion. How would you like to have Joe Biden take over negotiations right now with China? I don't think so. I don't think so. These corrupt politicians and the radical leftists got rich bleeding America dry, and they knew that my election would finally end their pillaging and looting of our country. And that's what they were doing. And that's what they continue to try and do. That is why from day one, the wretched Washington swamp has been trying to nullify the results of a truly great and democratic election, the election of 2016. They're trying. They're not getting very far.
So Trump is identifying America's #1 enemy, the deep state coupled with the authoritarian nightmare land of communist China. And this alone, he gets a 100% in the speech. The speech was stratospheric. I might just come in this weekend and just do a 4-hour special where we just analyze the whole 2-hour speech. It's all posted at Infowars.com. Here he is explaining what would have happened if Hillary would have won. China would be the world's dominant economy, enslaving their own people and leveraging out our economy and others. And then he gets back into Biden and China trade. Here's the president.
America now has the #1 economy anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. You know, I'm dealing with China right now. They're in Washington. We're going to see if we make a deal. But they want to make it. We're going to determine whether or not we want to make it. But they've been very nice. And today I got a call from one of the top representatives. He said, "Congratulations, Mr. President, on having a truly great, great economy." That's pretty nice. We picked up since the election trillions of dollars in value, and China has lost trillions of dollars in value. I will say this. If our opponent had won that election, you know what would have happened? Right now, China would become the #1 economy anywhere in the world, and right now I can tell you they're not even close.
By the way, we were slated to be like the #3 economy by now, after the EU and China. Now we're the #1 oil producer, exporter. It's like flipping a light switch. We've been set up. The globalists brag about this. I was reading Council on Foreign Relations books 30 years ago called Foreign Affairs. They're put out every 2 months. It's at Barnes & Noble's. And, I mean, it's just like every other issue. It talks about how much America sucks and how China's the... Remember Lloyd Blankfein before he left Goldman Sachs a couple years ago? Said, I was just in China. Trump will never bring America back. Talking crap about us. Then when he got us up to almost 4% growth rate, Federal Reserve raised interest rates 8 times to teach us dirty Americans. You know, Trump also said something that had all over the news. I don't need to play it here, but, you know, he got into Trump, versus Biden, and he says all Biden's good at is kissing Obama's ass. And that's really true. That's all Obama was good at, was kissing the globalist butt. The big consortium of multinational corporations that sell out nation states, corporate raiders like Mitt Romney. It's the same crew. Romney's just lower-level vulture. And they sit around in committees, and they talk to the Chinese Communist Committee that talks to the Apple Committee and the Goldman Sachs Committee and the Google Committee, and then they all align and agree with each other, and then they proceed to screw everyone over. Oh, why don't we just play the clip? It's still true and funny, too. Here it is.
Hunter asked these questions. Hunter, you know nothing about energy. You know nothing about China. You know nothing about anything, frankly. Hunter, you're a loser. Why did you get $1.5 billion, Hunter? And your father was never considered smart. He was never considered a good senator. He was only a good vice president because he understood how to kiss Barack Obama's ass.
Wow. You know, Owen Schroyer can do whatever he wants in the war room coming up, but I think that'll just re-air the whole thing. I mean, this is solid gold. So, Trump gets into a lot of other big points. And then he does some of the best comedy ever. I mean, sometimes he kind of halfway delivers the comedy. But last night, he was really funny and really entertaining. And I was just looking at him with all this energy and stamina, a bull, and all he's done and how hard he's tried. Compared to a Hillary Clinton, it's night and day. But you know what? That's not enough. Because he...